Purposely coming down each step with thunderous momentum, Dad was quickly at the bottom of the stairs saying, "I'll show you what happens to kids who are too effing lazy to do things for themselves." Hello, you are listening to In My Words. The book I am reading from is titled The Monster We Call Dad by D.A. Riles. This book is not intended for young readers. After each reading session, I will show or discuss a various topic of interest. Leaving a comment will help my videos get noticed more and allow other people to view them. Also, purchasing one or all three of my books will be very helpful. My newest book is out, titled The Sensitives. You can find it at Amazon.com under The Sensitives by D.A. Riles. Thank you for your time and consideration. "Dad! Dad!" Sissy begged. He wouldn't listen. Tears streamed down both children's eyes. Sissy and Sarah knew they were in big trouble, not the kind that you just get hit for, but the kind that stays with you. Pulling a chair out from the table that was in the basement, Dad pushed Sissy onto the chair. She sat perfectly still. Sarah was standing behind Dad, afraid to say anything. Dad pulled her out from behind him and said to both the girls, "Now you'll see what happens to kids who are too stupid and lazy to get their own water." Pointing his long, narrow finger, staring directly at Sarah, he continued, "You're going to stay here and watch," Dad said to Sarah. Sarah didn't want to watch. She would rather have been the one who was receiving the impending punishment than to have to watch the horror that lay ahead. She would have done anything to trade places with Sissy. She didn't want her sister to be hurt just because she was careless and fell down the stairs. Sarah felt so guilty for Sissy's upcoming fate that she tried to speak. Just as the words were about to leave her mouth, Dad said, "There's no effing way she," pointing his finger at Sissy, "is not going to be punished. So keep your little SH mouth shut, or I'll shut it for you." Sarah said nothing. She stood silently still while Dad continued on with his task. Walking over to the cupboard that was built into the cement wall, Dad took out a Melmac plate. The hard green plastic speckled with white plate was a very sturdy dish. "Do you want to see how stupid you are?" Dad questioned Sissy, not wanting an answer. Sarah was face to face with Sissy, and even though Sissy was sitting, Sarah was still much smaller. Silent tears filled her eyes, pleading with her sister to forgive her for the inevitable brutality that was about to come. Sissy stared silently back, her eyes filled with hatred toward her young sister. Neither need to speak a word, for they both knew what each other was thinking. Dad lifted the plate high above his head. Following through with his motion, the plate came down with tremendous force upon the top of Sissy's head. Thud was the sound that came from the solid plate hitting its target. Sarah thought Dad would stop. Sissy started screaming in pain. Once again, the unyielding monster raised the plate high above his head, down upon hers, and thud, then another scream. Sarah grabbed at Dad's arm, begging him to stop. "Stop, Dad, stop!" Dad shook Sarah off of him. Glaring intently at his little child, with his free hand, he dug deeply into the young girl's arm and said, "If you try to do that again, I will kill you." The monster's face was stern, and his look so very cold that Sarah knew this monster was deathly serious. Sarah closed her mouth and closed her eyes tight. She didn't want to have to watch anymore. Hitting the back of Sarah's head with his hand, the monster bellowed, "You're not closing your eyes on this. You're going to watch. It's your effing fault that Sissy is getting punished." Tremendous guilt filled Sarah. Standing straight, stoic, the little sister floated off into the far corner and watched the continuing assault on her older sister. The sensation was new to her. It took her away from the pain and reality of what was truly happening. Although the feeling scared her, it made the brutality of the event less real. Thud! The sound came again. "Effing bull sh!" Dad cursed as the plate still had not broken. With relief, Dad saw a small crack in the plate as he pulled it away from his screaming daughter's head. "Finally," Dad mumbled. The monster was coming out of its trance. Dad began realizing what was happening, and it seemed to be very wrong. But he wasn't completely there yet either. Snapping it with his fingers at the crack, he dropped the fragments over Sissy's head and let the rest fall to the floor. "Clean it up," he ordered to Sissy. Silent tears racked her body as she obeyed his command. Sarah's body began to tremble uncontrollably. Still in a state of shock, Sarah didn't move. "Get the F to bed, you little troublemaker," Dad swore at Sarah. Still, she didn't move. So many horrible things were passing through her mind that she was unable to hear what her father had said to her. Kicking Sarah in the back and watching her fall to the floor, he said once again, "Get your ass to bed." With a busted open lip, scraped palms, chin, and knees, Sarah rose to her feet as she was jolted back to reality. Looking up at the tall man before her with glazed-over eyes, the small child blinked a couple of times as if to clear her mind and blindly followed Dad's orders. Over the next 2 weeks, Sarah tried to talk to Sissy and tell her how sorry she was. However, Sissy wasn't interested until one day she heard her older sister say, "I don't blame you." Sissy's words were quiet, almost seeming to be ashamed of herself. Sarah knew exactly what she was talking about. Sarah hesitantly responded, "I'm sorry. I didn't know Dad would get so mad." Questioning her sister, Sissy asked sadly, "Why did you tell Dad I wanted the water?" "He asked me when I came down the stairs before I fell. If I told him differently the second time, I thought he'd get even madder." Sarah's heart felt so heavy. She ached so much to make things better with her older sister. It took a while, but things did improve. Many times over the years, Sarah told Sissy how very sorry she was for what took place. Sissy would always respond the same, "It wasn't your fault." Somehow, Sarah felt it was. All her life, Sarah wished she could take that day away. She wished she could make it better. Please like, share, and subscribe. I look forward to having you join me again next time, where I will show another topic, and I will continue to read from the book titled The Monster We Call Dad by D.A. Riles, which you can purchase from Amazon.com. My newest book is out, titled The Sensitives. You can find it at Amazon.com under The Sensitives by D.A. Riles. Thank you for having joined me.